NFTs.
NFTs.
NFTs. What are they?
Over the past year and a half, these three little letters have been on a lot of people's minds. An NFT is a non-fungible token. But what the hell does fungible even mean?
Explain NFTs to people that don't know what you're talking about, because I don't know what you're talking about. I do, but I don't. I know it's a non-fungible token.
Yes.
I'm not exactly sure what that means.
Yeah. Well, it's just not very fungible. You know, tokens are super fungible.
Got it.
These aren't very fungible.
I don't even know if I could, if I was on Jeopardy. And they said, what is fungible?
Fungible.
I'm not sure what that means.
Fungible. I don't
What
even
does
know
fungible mean?
When something is fungible, it means that it has the same value as another. It is mutually interchangeable. For example, say your friend needs to borrow $1 and promises to pay you back a week later. Now, although he's not going to give you back the same exact dollar that you gave him, any dollar will do. You're more concerned with the value of the dollar rather than the piece of paper itself. So that item is fungible. Non-fungible items are often, but not always, collectibles. Let's say you have an antique bookshelf that you loan to a friend. However, a week later, he returns with a completely different bookshelf. Similar in size, but not your antique. You're probably gonna get upset because the bookshelf does not have the same value as your unique collectible. In other words, it's non-fungible. It cannot be substituted with a similar item. But what is an NFT? NFTs are tokens that live on a blockchain, which is a secured, distributed database, and NFTs represent ownership of unique items. What's the point of doing all this? Well, tracking who owns a digital file can be tricky because it can be copied and distributed endlessly. So how would you prove who the original owner was when everyone has an identical copy of the file? NFTs take care of this issue. Imagine yourself creating a piece of digital art, a JPEG on your laptop.
Do I look like I know what a JPEG is? I just want a picture of a goddamn hot dog.
That JPEG can be created or minted as an NFT. The NFT that represents your art contains a bit of information such as a unique fingerprint of the file, a token name, and a symbol. It is then stored on a blockchain, and then you, the artist, become the owner. You can sell that token by creating a transaction on a blockchain, which makes sure this information can never be tampered with. It also allows you to track its current owner, as well as showing how much it has previously sold for. So, are you following me? Yes? Okay, good. Because usually when I talk about NFTs,
90% of the time I have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about.
But just in case you're still having a hard time understanding, let's listen to NFT mogul Beeple try to explain it to us.
Let's kick things off. So I think the very first thing that everybody's going to ask is, what is crypto art?
Crypto art, think of it just as like proof of ownership of like a piece of artwork. The blockchain, the reason Bitcoins have value is because you can't copy a Bitcoin. You can't just take one Bitcoin and like, okay, I took one, now I've got two. Sweet, I just doubled my money. Like, that's not how Bitcoin works, so that's why Bitcoin has value. And so that's the same thing with this. You can prove that you own a piece of art, be it a JPEG, be it a MP4, be it a WAV file, whatever, and everybody else agrees. So one of the arguments is like, well, what if I just screenshotted it or like recorded the screen? You can do that, but nobody else is gonna agree that you own it. And because it's coming from you, the artist, it's like kind of like signing the piece when you sort of like mint the like token or whatever. So again, anybody else can mint anything, but it's like some rando person is like, I own this picture. It'll be like, okay, no, Beeple owns that picture. Like, you know, if somebody tried to mint one of your, you know, Boston Dynamics videos or something like that, it'd be like, okay, well, clearly Corridor Digital owns the video. Like, what are you talking about? You don't own it.
So it's like the certificate of authenticity.
It's certificate of authenticity, and plus it's sort of like tied to the artist themselves.
The future of NFTs will have endless possibilities, especially when we're all living in the metaverse like Ready Player One. For example, in a majority of video games, players have the option to buy skins. Skins are so popular that many games are able to rely on them as their sole revenue stream, such as Fortnite, who in 2020 was able to rake in $2.5 billion. To purchase skins and other online assets, players buy virtual currency. Every video game has their own, such as Fortnite's V-Bucks, Fallout's Atoms, and Call of Duty's COD points. Players use real-world money to buy these currencies, and they only work in their respective worlds.
Are you serious? A paint set? 1,800 atoms for blue? You want me to spend $18 for blue? What is this, Evolve? No! Bethesda, no!
NFTs can replace all of these digital economies. Imagine if every video game, classroom, movie theater, and job was hosted in the same place. That's the metaverse. When the metaverse comes into fruition, having different currencies for every single game is going to be a hassle. In a world where digital assets can be transferred from game to game, it would make sense to have a uniform currency or some way to make these transfers easier. That is where NFTs come in. NFTs allow an individual to show proof of a digital asset. By having everything in the metaverse tied to an NFT, these goods can be easily traded across games and worlds. Currently, Google, Facebook, Microsoft, and Epic Games are investing billions of dollars into building the metaverse. At the same time, major companies like Adidas, Nike, Microsoft, and JP Morgan are selling their own NFTs, helping creators develop them as well. These two innovations together will create one of the biggest money makers the world has ever seen. In 1964, media theorist Marshall McLuhan wrote that the medium is the message. At the time, newspapers, radio, and television were the dominant forms of media. In his day, analog broadcasts were transforming how people consumed information. NFTs are changing the very nature of digital goods and how we consume culture and interact online. Why is this important? Well, enabling digital assets that we can own, trade, and transport across different environments could change our relationships with the internet and with each other.